Today I'm at one of Australia's leading European specialists, Harding Performance. Let's go inside and see what they get up to. Harding Performance is undoubtedly a household name when it comes to supplying parts for Euro cars here in Australia. Just look at what's going on here in the workshop. This place is full of really cool Euro cars. Right, so we're in the workshop now and there's this beautiful grey brand new GTI here, but the car we're looking at is this S3, which is just about to get a full Bendix Euro Plus upgrade. With the shear rate that OE pads and rotors wear, one of the biggest side effects is the amount of dust that gets on the wheels, a problem that Euro owners know all too well. Euro Plus solves this, being a low dust, low rotor wear, ceramic formulation braking solution. Euro Plus brakes are tested to stringent European product standards, ensuring you're opting for quality every time. For the mechanic doing the job, the Swift Fit coating means that the rotors don't need to be cleaned before going on. Along with the Euro Plus pad's titanium stripe technology, eliminating the need to bed in the brakes, this means faster install times all round. Okay, so the brake service is done, so let's take it for a test drive and see how the Euro Plus rotors and pads perform. Thanks to the high carbon metallurgy utilised in the Euro Plus rotors, you'll notice an improved level of stopping power under continuous heavy braking. Along with that, you'll find that noise dampening is drastically improved, making for a much comfier drive day to day. Right, so I'm in the workshop now and I've found the man himself, Guy Harding, and obviously Harding being your surname, you're the man that started the business. How'd you get into working on Euro cars?
All started when I was a kid. I was a motorcyclist from bicycles, and then my first car had to be air-cooled and happened to be a Volkswagen, so something I could work on myself anywhere, anytime. So that's how it started.
And I mean, how have you progressed from back then to where you are now? What are some of the highlights of your career?
Oh, it's long highlights. We've owned wrecking yards, became an air-cooled Volkswagen Tragic, spent a lot of time travelling the world, chasing parts, building cars from scratch. Good history in doing that. Built race cars, silly enough to try and do Targa Tasmania and a Beetle. And then we gradually progressed into the newer stuff.
And I guess the business here itself, how did that all get started? And I mean, what led you to grow Harding Performance into what it is today?
We ran a full service centre, a Euro service centre, so we were doing a lot of OEM factory servicing, a lot of cars, and then that naturally progressed into performance side, a bit of what I really wanted to do. We really wanted to get into the performance side. And yeah, it's just been a natural progression, and we've just followed the new models and new releases. Love technology, love brand new stuff. I love waking up in the morning and seeing something new and fresh. I love technology.
So I guess looking around the workshop, there's a real mix of cars here, Beetle and Audis and Volkswagens, but give us a run through a day in the life of Harding Performance and what you really sort of focus on here.
We are an importer and a wholesaler and a retailer here. So we do a bunch of different things on different days. We also do a lot of software, a lot of larger turbo kits, a lot of exhaust systems. Primarily this facility though, we only do R&D with the dyno work here. We test and prove products. Then we supply those products through our dealer network all around the country, make sure they've got good backup and support to service the customers. Beautiful,
and I guess with racing and stuff like that, what's your involvement with racing these days? I mean, I can see over here you've got a beautiful time attack car, but tell us a bit about that and some of the other racing you're involved in.
We've been involved in the racing scene for 30 years now. The time attack car is great to see where you can push these platforms to, so that's a Volkswagen at the extreme limit. We also run a production race car, a Golf 7.5, run the Bathurst 6-hour in that. We really like to test the products. If we can prove that it's going to last 6 hours at Bathurst, it's pretty easy for us to sell to our customers, so it's a great mix and it's a lot of fun as well.
And I guess with racing too, I mean, everyone knows that Euro cars are pretty potent when it comes to getting more power out of them, making them go fast. But for you, I guess, looking at that sort of thing here, it's a mix of getting the car to perform in all areas.
Correct, that's right. Making them go fast is one thing, going around corners is another, but then to stop is a big component. And obviously, we'd like our customers to be out there safely at the end of the day too. So a lot of our customers do a lot of track days, so we see a lot of stuff happening to the cars that they don't normally see happen around the streets.
So I guess tell me, what are your typical Harding Performance customer? What sort of brands they're looking at that you carry here?
We cover most of the European vehicles on the road today. Miltech's our main exhaust brand. It's a UK brand that's been around for many, many years, super high quality exhaust. Racing Line Performance does all of our Volkswagen Audi group product. They do a lot of turbo kits, the wheels and stuff you'll see on some of our cars here. They do some of their large brake kit upgrades. They do a lot of suspension. We have our own brands of suspension developed locally here in Brisbane, a lot of suspension components, control arms and sway bars.
A lot of time spent at the racetrack developing them.
Correct,
Terrible,
yes.
terrible problem to have.
It is. And then we also sell a lot of OE replacement high quality parts. So we don't sell generic OE stuff that you can buy online. We look at more upper market, high-end stuff, which is the sort of customer that we have here.
Yeah, and I guess most of these cars aren't sort of what you'd class as a cheaper car anyway, so you're not really wanting to put cheap parts on them.
Correct. Our customer, you'd categorise them as the enthusiast, and the enthusiasts are always pretty picky about what they put on their car.
And I guess one thing as well, you mentioned exhaust before. I had a rumour that you've got a special exhaust on a car here.
Ah, yes.
Tell us a bit about that. We might get a look at it later.
Okay, if you want your Amarok to sound like a C63 AMG, come and talk to us, because we have all those capabilities. And funnily enough, if you want your Tesla to sound like a C63, we can also do that. So not everybody's cup of tea, but it's out there and some people love it.
So you mentioned OE parts before. I mean, tell us a little bit more about how that works.
Okay, part of our history is we ran a very large OE workshop for many years as a dealer alternative. Today we have a network of dealers that we sell our imported products to. Around 40 dealers at this stage. All of those dealers are good local independents, European specialists. They rely on our team here to give them support. We run a team that's just solely dedicated here to answering their questions, making sure they get the right parts. And they know that we've used them, we've tested them, stuff we supply is going to be good stuff first time up.
And I guess too, I mean, being a little bit more niche, the European cars, they need somebody who's going to be reliable and being able to supply those parts when they need them.
Correct, and that's why we've narrowed our expertise down to looking at the more higher end European performance stuff. You know, your Golfs, your Audis, your Volkswagens, your BMWs. That's our niche of expertise. We don't try and do anything else.
Yeah, and they're definitely getting a lot more popular.
Correct, they are.
So I guess something like this S3 here is a fairly set formula for doing one of these up and extracting more out of it. What's the sort of typical customer with something like that get you to do?
It's a good question. Very common upgrade for us with this platform. Customers usually want to go a little bit faster. Software tuning's where we start with that. We do intake mods, intercoolers. We have larger turbos for them. Gearbox softwares. Then they will get into a set of lowering springs, and from lowering springs, then they get into better brakes. So having the Bendix Euro Plus in here is a great option for these type of customers.
And I guess as well, like most of them have got pretty nice wheels on them, so the fact that there's less dust is going to be a big thing for them too, isn't it? Correct,
it's a big selling point for sure, yes.
So just before we were talking about, you know, dust from OE pads being a big problem, obviously people don't want to have disgusting dirty wheels all the time, but what are some of the other problems we're looking at here with OE parts you've encountered and sort of got past with the Bendix Euro Plus?
Okay, well this is fairly typical of the over wear on a disc rotor. You can see that it's fairly well eaten up and taken up there. So by going to the Euro Plus, we've got much better wear on the rotors, much less replacements, and yeah, longer life, so smiles all around there.
Yeah, so that's obviously a big problem, but I mean, one of the biggest things would be cost, I guess.
Correct. That's why using these type of aftermarket parts, you've got the opportunity to use an independent specialist. You get the same expertise, but without the full dealership cost.
So, I mean, I've just watched you guys. I've got clean hands, so I wasn't involved, but doing the service on this Audi here, and I've noticed that that pad is a lot more worn than this one, and the wear is quite odd. I mean, tell me what's going on here.
Well, we see this quite often. This is the reason why you need to get your brakes serviced regularly. The cost puts a lot of people off, of course, with dealer servicing, but this is fairly typical of what we see from these single piston calipers, that you get excessive wear on one pad, not the other, and this is typical. It's the one on the inside where you can't see easily, so it's another great reason why to have this checked by your independent specialist more often.
So now we're looking at the Euro Plus gear here. I mean, what sort of other benefits are your dealer network seeing by using these products?
A lot of time and money savers for the independent workshops. Titanium stripe, no bedding in required. Swift fit coating, no cleaning down required.
None of that old school, cleaning all the slimy stuff off the rotors anymore.
No, and it takes a lot of human error out of the factor for us too.
Well, thanks so much for having us, Guy. It's been really good looking around your workshop. I'll leave you to finish putting the brakes on this Audi.
It's been a pleasure, thanks Mark.
Cheers.
Bendix. Put your foot down with confidence.